Hello and welcome to another Manga Spotlight. Today's series is Deep Breath Now, regarding the destruction of the Destruction Flag as a result of a Nichiasa-Loving Otaku being reincarnated as a villainous student. Ah, yeah, so as you can probably guess by that long title, this is based off of a light novel, and it is based off of a isekai light novel. So this series was written by Kawasuma Ie, and it was drawn, or at least the manga is drawn by Dongurisu. And the best way to describe this would be a Tokusatsu Otaku gets reincarnated in a world where he gets a Kamen Rider suit. Yeah. So let's just read a little summary here. Yugo Kurei is a high school student that loves Tokusatsu hero shows. One day, he loses his life protecting a child from a street slasher, but he is reincarnated in another world as Yugo Clay, a character from a certain game. However, Yugo is the most disliked person in the school and is destined to die tragically. He is reincarnated as a villain, but with the new power of magic in his hands, he aims to become a hero. In this world, I can become the strongest hero. A hero story of a Tokusatsu Otaku who rises from the bottom while crushing his doom flags. So yeah, this actually takes the isekai formula and kind of switches it a little bit in a number of ways. One, our hero does not get reincarnated as the hero of this new world, but rather as a doomed villain, which isn't completely new. But another interesting take is the fact that our hero has no idea about this world. This isn't like a world that he used to play when he was still alive or anything like that. This is a completely new world to him. He has no idea that this is a game or anything that goes on in this game. In fact, one of the twists comes from the fact that the villain of this series is actually a reincarnator who was a fan of the video game and was reincarnated as the hero. So yeah, does that sound pretty interesting? You want to hear a little bit more? So let's keep on going. So we see our main character. His name is Kurei Yugo, and as mentioned earlier, he is a huge fan of the tokusatsu hero genre. So like your Power Rangers, your Super Sentais, Kamen Rider, Ultraman, Garu, that kind of stuff. This dude's a huge fan of. And he's like obsessed with being a hero. He's obsessed with doing good and helping other people out. And so he's just a regular high school kid who's one day heading to the mall, and we see him like helping old ladies cross the street and stuff along the way. So we basically get the general idea that this guy is a good person who looks up to the tokusatsu heroes and kind of wants to emulate them. Like he admires them and he kind of wants to be like them as much as he can in a world that doesn't have tokusatsu heroes. And so yeah, he's just chilling out at the mall when he sees this little boy talking about this new tokusatsu figure that he got. It's Volko Red. Our hero is like excited that yes, a new generation is also happy about these tokusatsu heroes. And that's when he hears screams and there's a slasher who's going around stabbing people. And during all this commotion, the little boy falls and the slasher sees him and runs over to stab the kid. When our hero gets in front of the way, knocks out the slasher and apprehends him, and it's only then that he realizes that he was actually stabbed. And he falls to the floor and he dies as the little boy watches on. Even though our hero is dying, Yugo is just happy that, at least I managed to save him. At least in the end, I was able to be a hero. But just as his life is drained from him, he's like, but you know what? Like the heroes that I admire would never let this boy make this kind of face. And basically the face the boy is making is he's crying because his hero was just murdered in front of him. And he's like, if I let this happen, I'm going to be a failure as a hero. If there's a next time, I'm going to be the best hero that there is. And then that's when he wakes up to see a sword pointed at him and this dude calling him out. The dude's name is Zenon. At least that's his name in this world. Originally, his name was Hino Seto, and he's a reincarnator from another world. So he comes from the same world that Yugo comes from. We don't see how he died, but apparently he died and he got reincarnated into this game world. Anyways, as Zenon, he had challenged our hero Yugo to a duel and beat him. We find out later that what it was is that Yugo is engaged to this girl named Claire. Zenon challenges Yugo to a duel, beats him, and Yugo loses, like the engagement is broken off, and Yugo kind of loses everything. He loses his sword, he loses his family's backing, and he turns to the dark side, and he ends up basically listening to the whispers of demons, which encourage him to sacrifice his brother to gain power. So he does that, but ultimately he's defeated by the main character. So he's basically destined to meet a miserable death and despair. But because Zenon is like obsessed with Claire, he wanted to quote unquote save Claire before Claire got her first kiss. So he challenged Yugo early. Another thing that kind of throws the monkey in the wrench is the fact that Yugo is also a reincarnator and Yugo is not a villain. So yeah, he basically he wakes up, sees this sword pointed at him, and then he blacks out again. And then when he wakes up for the second time, he's in bed and his father comes in and basically says, "You're a disgrace to our family. You're disowned. I can't believe you were defeated by someone who appeared out of nowhere, even though you had the sacred sword of Gallandel," which I guess is a sacred sword that belongs to Yugo's family. Yugo is banished. He's no longer able to use the Clay family name. He's now just Yugo. And he's allowed to continue going to the school because the father had already paid for his tuition. But other than that, he's on his own. Like, he's not allowed to use the dorms. He has to basically camp outside on his own. Like, nothing. He's on his own from now on. And Yugo's just kind of like confused because obviously he just woke up. He has no idea what's going on. He wasn't even participating in the duel. He knows he lost the duel, but he wasn't the one that fought it. So he's just kind of like, what's going on here? And he's just like, okay, I guess I'm banished. I guess this guy's my dad, but I don't have any memories of him being my dad. Like, everything here is weird. So yeah, unlike other isekai stories where our hero gets reincarnated and maybe he's reincarnated as a baby, our character is reincarnated as a full-grown adult. In other series, when someone gets reincarnated as an adult or a teenager or whatever, sometimes like eventually they recall the memories that the body that they're sharing had. But Yugo doesn't. He has no idea what any of this is. And he's never played this game, so he doesn't even know that he's in the game world. He just thinks that he was reincarnated into another world. He has no knowledge of anything that's going on around him. And that's when his little brother shows up. And his little brother's named Phi. And I'm wondering if Phi, spelled Phi, is supposed to be a reference to Phil, or Philip, from Kamen Rider W. That would be pretty interesting. Basically, as soon as Yugo sees Phi, he just kind of is reminded of the little boy that he saved in the mall. And yeah, he basically asks the boy, like, "Who are you? Like, I have memory loss. I have no idea what's going on." And Phi kind of explains everything. He's like, my name is Phi. I'm your younger brother, but I'm your half brother, and I'm physically weak, so I can't become a knight. And basically, what a knight is a holy knight, and that's what this academy's for. This academy that Yugo is a part of is to make you into a holy knight, which I guess is supposed to have like this huge standing amongst the people. Anyways, he explains, your name is Yugo Clay, but I guess you're just Yugo now. You're the eldest son of a prestigious knight family, the Clay family, and the heir of our family heirloom, which is the sacred sword, Gallandel. Yeah, Yugo's like, oh, I remember like a duel that I apparently lost. And Phi explains, yeah, Claire Sama was your fiance. She was taken due to the bet you made. Dad also said that the defeat was a shame to the family. So you're no longer able to use the sword or able to use the family name or anything like that. So Yugo just basically camps outside. And he's like, you know what? It turns out that this Yugo character, everyone hates him. Everyone seems to absolutely despise me. Like, when I was kicked out of the dorm, everyone was laughing at me and saying that karma caught up to me. So I guess I am like reincarnated as a bully. But obviously, I'm not going to be that kind of person. So this is going to be interesting. And that's when Phi shows up. And he's like, I brought you some food from my room. And yeah, Phi is like a really awesome little brother. And the reason why he looks up to his older brother is because everybody kind of looks at Phi in shame. Because, one, Phi is, even though he was fathered by the head of the Clay family, His mother is not the wife of the Clay family. His mother is just a concubine. So he's already like kind of seen as a bastard child in a sense. I mean, not necessarily since he still has the Clay name, but he's not really looked on favorably from the other people in the family. Also, he's weak physically, so he can never become a knight. Instead, what he's good at is his brains. He's able to come up with like strategies dealing with magic and building things. And so Yugo noticed that ability and basically takes Fi on and says, help me become a great holy knight. Help me take on the head of the family. And in return, I'll make you my right-hand man. And he's think, oh, this is actually a pretty sweet thing for him to do. Well, his original character is basically just using his brother. Like, he knows his brother is smart and intelligent and can come up with some great things. So he believes that if he is nice to his brother he'll basically be able to benefit off of his brother's smarts. And then, of course, in the game world, when he loses and stuff like that, he ends up sacrificing his brother and killing him to gain power, which eventually leads to his downfall. However, Yugo actually enjoys his brother and likes him for him. And his brother doesn't know that Yugo, the original Yugo, was using him. So they actually have this nice kind of brotherly relationship that I enjoy, where Fi is trying to do his best to help his brother out, who was just kicked out of the family. Meanwhile, Yugo is doing the best that he can to help out his little brother, who, even though he's still in the family looks down on. And so, yeah, they just kind of help each other out in this regard. And Yugo's like, you know what? This is like the perfect time for me to start fresh. Like, I've been disowned. I got nobody except for my little brother. Everyone kind of hates me. But maybe now is the time for me to change. Like, now I'm in control of this body. Rather than continuing being a villain, I'm going to be a good person. I'm going to become the hero that I always wanted to be. His first step in that is the fact that Fi gives him this bracelet. And he tells him, like, put it on. And it's a magical bracelet that allows him to transform. He basically henshins, and he gets this suit. I'm going to say it's kind of like Kamen Rider suit. It doesn't really look like the Kamen Rider suit, but if I say he henshins into a Kamen Rider suit, for anyone who's familiar with Kamen Rider, you kind of know what I'm talking about. He henshins, he transforms, he gains this suit of armor. And the suit of armor is actually supposed to be like really weak. Basically, in this world, swords are the number one utility, the number one tool. And in this world, people are able to use magic. So they can use magic to boost up their defense, which is like what the suit is supposed to do. The suit is supposed to help you with your defense and also gives you some magical abilities. But if you can already boost yourself up without the need of armor, then the armor is just kind of pointless because it just kind of slows you down a little bit because now you just have this heavy armor on. So armor is not really looked upon favorably. The reason why Fi gives it to him, though, is because Yugo has no sword. He lost his sword when he was disowned. So he has nothing. He has no tools. So Fi is like, this is the only thing I was able to get you. I wish I could have given you something better, but this is all I have. It's an old model armor suit. And Yugo's actually super excited about this. He'd rather have this than the sword because he's a huge Tokusatsu Otaku fan. The fact that now he gets a Tokusatsu suit, it's like, yes, this is it. I get to live out my dream. I get to start my life anew. I have a suit of armor. I can now henshin and transform into a suited hero. This is my dream. Like, I get to live this out. Yeah, this starts the adventure of Yugo trying to do good, trying to redeem his name, trying to become a hero, and also, I guess, subconsciously trying to destroy the destruction flags that he has. He's not aware of any of these destruction flags, like I said before, because he's not aware of this game world. He has no idea about any of this. So he has no idea that his original character is supposed to eventually sacrifice his brother and go down the path of destruction, which eventually leads to his destruction. Because he's just a good person at heart, he's already on the step to destroying his destruction flags. However, like I said before, we have Zenon, aka Haino Seto, who is a reincarnator as well. And this dude got reincarnated after losing his life in an accident, and he got reincarnated as Zenon. He got reincarnated as the hero who of this game world, who eventually gathers like a harem of girls and saves the day and all that stuff. But he's not a good person. So Zenon is like he's obsessed with this game, so he knows like all the routes and stuff like that. But he's really obsessed with building a harem. But the thing is that he's like this creepy jerk. So our characters have basically kind of like switched roles where the good person in the real world gets reincarnated as a villain. Meanwhile, the kind of villainous sleaze in the real world gets reincarnated as the hero. And because of that, the game world changes. Because Yugo's not going to sacrifice his brother. He's not going to be doing any evil deeds since he's a good person. Meanwhile, Zenon is obsessed with trying to collect his harem as soon as possible, and he's trying to spend time with Claire, who he's obsessed with. So he challenged Yugo to a duel before he was supposed to. So both of them are kind of already destroying their regular routes. So now everything's kind of fair game. And yeah, there's more, but I'm going to kind of just stop it there. That's basically the gist of the first chapter and just kind of laying down where the story is going to be going. But you can read like the rest of the chapters on your own. I will link a link to the description down below like I always do. But yeah, I've actually like just really enjoyed this so far. Might actually want to check out the light novel. It's awesome because I freaking love Tokusatsu. I've mentioned this plenty of times when I've done like comic book reviews and things like that. The whole reason why I read and review the Massiverse series, despite the fact that most of it is trash, is because it's a Tokusatsu universe, and I'm a fan of Tokusatsu. So to have a hero who's a Tokusatsu fan get reincarnated in a world where he gets a Kamen Rider like suit is kind of cool. Yeah. Also, just Yugo is a very interesting character. I mean, he's like trying to be a hero and stuff, but he's very likable. He's not like annoyingly trying to be good, if that makes any sense. He has his comedic moments as well. And actually, the big selling point to me is actually the relationship between him and his brother. Like, I love that familiar bond that they have with each other. And it's something that I mostly see in Japanese media, where sometimes it can get kind of weird, like the sibling relationship. It can kind of go into a romantic route, which I'm not really a fan of. But like when you have siblings actually being loving and caring for each other and helping each other out, it's something I don't really see in Western media. Western media always kind of portrays families as like you have the dumb, overweight dad, you have the snobby, smart, bitchy, sassy wife, you have the kids who are always fighting with each other and with their parents. I don't know. Maybe that's what American families are, but mine isn't. Maybe it's because my family is a bunch of immigrants, so we kind of have more of a European style. But like everyone in my family is really close. My siblings and us were like, we grew up together. We help each other out. Even to this day, if any of us needs any help, we can always turn to each other. Not only that, we can always turn to our parents and even our relatives, aunts, uncles, grandparents. Like if someone needs help, the whole family is there to help each other out and get each other through any tough or difficult times. So I've always kind of missed seeing that kind of relationship in media because I don't see that a lot in Western media. So usually I get that in manga, but it's even then it's kind of sometimes rare. Or like I said, it goes down like the whole like incest route. But here, it's not an incest route, and it's just an older brother who is trying to do the best to help his younger brother, and a younger brother who looks up to his older brother and trying to do the best to help him out. And just the relationship of the two of them helping each other out in this world where circumstances beyond their control have kind of put them in a not so great situation. So to have these two brothers like helping each other out and trying to make the most of their life, I don't know, I find it kind of sweet and kind of endearing, and that's kind of like my biggest selling point for this series. I mean, there's the romance tag, there's the harem tag. I don't know if eventually he's going to gain a harem. Maybe our hero will at some point. But that's not the biggest selling point to me. Biggest selling point is our hero basically becoming a tokusatsu hero. That's already a huge thing for me. And then seeing this loving relationship between him and his brother, and the two of them trying to help each other out. Like, that's also pretty awesome. Yeah, this is a good series so far. At the time of this recording, it's only 3 chapters. There's probably going to be more by the time this video gets out, but it's 3 really good chapters. And I think I'm definitely going to check out the light novel itself at some point. But there you go. There's regarding the destruction of the destruction flag as a result of a Nichiasa-Loving otaku being reincarnated as a villainous student. Jesus, that's a long name. But yeah, there you go. This is a pretty awesome series. Tokusatsu nerd gets reincarnated into a world where he is able to live out his dream of being a tokusatsu hero. Anyways, I hope you enjoy, and I hope to see you next time. Take care. Later.